Uno.
What's up? Welcome to Wine School. I'm Mike. With me as always is the Swedish chef. And special guests, we got Sherry, Ann, Ian, and Tony. What's up, guys? We're gonna drink some port.
Nice.
I think you should do the entire episode in the Swedish chef voice. Do you know what the Swedish chef is?
I have no fucking clue.
Seriously? The Swedish chef was like
The funny thing is the Swedish chef is the only Swedish chef in America. The rest of the world, nah.
It's like it was like the Muppets. You
No, I know what the Muppets are, but it was it was such a misnomer, you know.
It's
just
the
like
chef.
Fucking douchey Americans who thought that this was Swedish, you know. The rest of the world's like we know way better.
Look, if you do the entire episode in the Swedish chef, I will do the entire episode in Scottish.
Oh no, please.
All right,
Stop.
I'll be fighting.
Okay,
Oh, no,
that sounds. I will not do Swedish
Start really,
chef.
girl.
Hang on. Actually, so we're going to drink some port tonight, and the biggest importer of port is Symington Family Estates, and they're Scottish. So there's actually precedent for doing this, and precedent, and you're Swedish, so it all makes sense.
No.
No?
It's all about you. It's all about you.
All right. Well, tonight we're doing port. And tonight's episode is brought to you by MakeMoreMarbles.com. So if you want opportunities to increase your overall level of abundance, check it out, MakeMoreMarbles.com. All right, so we're going to drink port tonight. And I think port is fortified wine that's from Portugal, hence the name port. And I think it is very, very confusing because there's about 1 billion different styles and vintages and non-vintages and blends and colheitas and
I thought
stuff.
there were like 2.
Well, we're going to talk about 2 because 2 we can make it easy if there's 2.
3. But we're gonna,
So
Or 1 billion.
So
or a billion.
port gets pretty
It
complicated.
really does.
It does. So we're going to break it down. We're going to make it real simple. The 2 most common types of port are red port and brown port. Let's just call
Yes.
it that. Red and
All right.
brown.
Let's just call
Red
it
and
that.
brown.
There's also white and pink, and there's different versions of this. But let's talk about how
About
port gets
red.
made. So port's from the Douro Valley in Portugal, and the Douro Valley is this super steep river gorge where the Douro River cut through the rock, and they build these vineyards like on these super, super steep hills. And you know the river goes like this, and so you have all these crazy microclimates depending on which way the hill's facing and which altitude and slope of the land and so on and so forth. And they grow about 50 different types of grapes there. But there's really 5 major ones that go into most ports, and that's Touriga Nacional, Touriga Franca, Tinta Roriz, Tinta Barroca, and Tinta Cal. And Tinta Roriz actually is Tempranillo, same grape that's in Rioja. So those are the 5 main grapes. Most port is with those primary grapes. And so what they do is they go and they hand harvest these grapes, and their goal is to make a very color extracted wine. So they pour the grapes in these little cement troughs, and then they violently tread the grapes for a period of time to try to maximize the impact of the skins and the wine interacting. A lot of that's still done by foot today.
I was picturing Lucy.
Yeah, they get these guys and they all join arms like this and they all tread and they sing and they party and they go back and forth. And
Is this a daily occurrence? Because I need to be there for a week.
it's interesting because they're trying to make like ways to mechanize it, and so they have like these new machines that have these feet that go like this.
They're like these little squares or rectangles. They're called lagares, and they supposedly apply the pressure of a 175-pound man.
Yeah,
Wow.
Yeah,
and they just tread
and
it.
they're mechanized.
So do they wear like Nikes or Reeboks or?
Well, yeah, I wish they actually had shoes. though.
Barefoot.
It's really
Extra
So they actually have the fungus
on
Okay.
Among us.
that would be funny.
It is interesting
It's
to
probably
kind of not
way
know.
less sexier than that. It's like
Kills
this
everything. Okay.
polyurethane rectangle is what it is, and it just kind of.
Alright.
I wish it were feet because that would be way better.
Like actually like cut out
Like
the feet. Yeah, pretty cool.
that would be a lot cooler.
But anyways, the idea behind it is we want to like really smash the skins against the wine and over and over and over again to try to get the most extraction possible. And then we take the wines, and up until now the process is exactly the same. We mix all the wine together, we make still wine. put it in the barrel, let it start fermenting, and we let it ferment until it gets about halfway through the fermentation process. The yeast is eating about half the sugar. At that point, we dump a bunch of brandy in. Raise the alcohol level to about 20%. That kills all the yeast, and what you're left with is about half of the sugar left. So you get a 20% alcohol and a bunch of sugar left on the back end. And now I have this wine. It's been fortified with brandy. Now I have to figure out what I'm going to do with it. This is where things get tricky. We basically have two approaches. Approach one is we just bottle it and we let the wine age in the bottle. That would be your reds. Option two is we put it in a barrel and let it sit for a minimum of 6 years until it turns brown, and then we bottle it, and that's a tawny.
So how do you decide which is which?
So the idea is you want to have some of both. The thing about the reds, the rubies, is they actually will continue to age in a bottle for forever.
So is that the better grapes, or how do they pick that?
Both are equally potentially good.
Okay.
With the tawnies, you age them until you put them in a bottle.
Right.
And then once they're in the bottle, they don't get any better.
No, I'm just wondering, do they like pick and choose the grapes, or it's just like half goes there, half goes the other way?
Well, to be honest, I think what they do is they worry about the blends. And it's actually more complicated than that, and I blame the Portuguese government for fucking this shit.
I mean, so clearly they're the as far as
Do
they're
tell.
concerned, yeah.
Well, so here's what
It's
happened.
like government.
Let me take you on a trip down memory lane. So in like the 30s, there was a mass overabundance of port. And so the Portuguese government passed a law called the Beneficio that limited the production of port. And so what happened is because the production was limited, each port producer got an allocation. You could make this many gallons of port based on how much stuff they had. And so depending on what you had in your vineyards, if you had a bunch of like Tinta Barroca, for example, versus the next vineyard down had a bunch of Touriga Nacional, you might elect to make more rubies than to make more tawnies. But the unintended consequence of this is if you have, let's say, 80 hectares of vineyards and you can only make port out of 30 of them, you end up making crap wine out of 50% of your, or 50 hectares of your holdings. So then the producers that were like, okay, we're smart, we can figure out how to do this. So the big guys would go and start buying the small guys' entire production, not because they wanted the grapes, because they wanted the allocation. And then they'd use that allocation to make out of port out of their better vineyards, and then they would just like make whatever junk wine out of
They'd
this
probably
stuff.
make brandy out of it, or just the spirit.
Or still wine.
Yeah, or some really crappy still wine.
Yeah, whatever.
Wow.
They would just get rid of it. So back to your point, I think at some level it's a matter of okay, this vineyard, because it's on the south-facing side of the river gorge, makes awesome, really dark-skinned grapes. They'd be perfect for rubies. But this one over here makes more aromatic stuff, so we're going to use those in our tawnies.
No, but the other thing is like as far as a year on the bottle, a lot of times you see that on a ruby, but not so much on a tawny.
Well, you will never see it on a tawny.
So that's
I'll say never. Here's
in Colheita, Tawny.
on a Colheita, yeah. Here's the way it works. With tawnies, you age them in the barrel, and then you put them in the bottle.
Okay.
But you have a bunch of barrels in the warehouse, and this barrel is from 2005, and this barrel is from 2003, and whatever.
Okay.
So generally speaking, you blend those down, and you get an average. So your tawnies are 10-year, 20-year, 30-year, 40-year. 95% of the tawnies are that. You will not see a year.
But it's an average.
It's an average.
Okay.
Every once in a while, there's a special one, as Tony points out, called a Colheita, where they may put a year on it. It's just, we're just going to bottle that barrel.
Exceptional year. And that's the one that they want. An exceptional barrel, too. It's not just, it's like really.
This one's so special.
Exactly. This one's so special. This is like what we structure our style after.
But rubies in general, there is a year on the bottle.
So with rubies, here's the way they do the rubies. About 3 times a decade, there's an exceptional year. And so when that happens, they declare a vintage, and they put the year on the bottle.
Alright.
Most of the time, they do not.
Yeah,
Like
that
this.
one has one. Yeah,
So
that's why,
2003.
So that is that is an exceptional
But then this is
port.
also late bottle vintage, and it was aged in barrels for 4 years and then bottled.
So bottom line is, if you see a ruby port with a year on it, the odds are that's way more kick-ass than if you
Yeah.
see a ruby port without a year.
Right.
On the tawnies, you'll just see 10, 20, 30, 40, 95% of the time. And the thing about tawny ports, I mean, think about this. Like, you could get a 20-year-old tawny for $30. Like, where else could you get a 20-year-old aged fortified wine in the world? They're just magnificent. Great value wines, in my opinion. But they're very different, right? I mean, you can kind of look at them. This is the exact same wine, started out the exact same way, and they're both fortified.
Yeah.
This is, the brown one's been aged in a barrel. This one was dumped into a bottle and let aged in a bottle.
Yeah.
So that's kind of how it works out. But let's drink some and find out.
I feel like I want to start with the tawny, but that one I'm good with. So I can try this one.
Talking about jam and fruit, goodness gracious. Concentration.
Right. Wow.
So how are the legs comparatively speaking? Wow.
I mean, the
I'm not
tears.
seeing the legs. Yeah, tears for you, legs for me. I like legs. You're a tear kind of guy.
The tears are gonna be,
I know, right? Story
Such a heartbreaker.
story of my life.
the tears are gonna be extremely slow moving
Yeah.
because of the high alcohol and high sugar content. Really
They're
viscous.
smooth, they're
Ooh,
slow
this is
and
good.
both.
But when you taste it, it still has that acidity that gives you a little dryness on it. It's not
That's a
massively
good
luscious.
tawny.
Tawny's amazing.
Yeah, the tawny is amazing. I don't like tawnies normally because I have crop
great.
tawnies.
You guys have already moved on. I'm still on this
I know,
LBV.
me
This
too.
is
You gotta step it up, Tony.
well, I'm just
good one.
exploring its
This is
attributes.
so
You
much-
know,
there's so
4
much
years
more
in a
in the
barrel and
tawny.
then 4 years in the bottle.
I
So
think
this
so
was
many
aged
more
8
things.
years.
All right. So let's talk about this wine a little bit. So it says founded in 1670 in Portugal, and this wine was based on the William Warry's winery back in Portugal, and he actually fought in the Peninsular War back there with Portugal and Britain fighting Napoleon, and he started serving his ports to the officers and commanders in the Portugal army,
Good for
and
them.
grew from there.
Yeah.
And they're still kind of in business, so it's a pretty cool story.
And now today, the Warres brand is owned by the Simonting family, which is from Scotland. All right, lads.
There we
That's
go.
fine. That's a proper
They also make
And how did that happen?
Unbelievable. That's fine.
And these guys at Port Niepoort, they actually still one of the few wineries that still stomp their grapes by foot. So
The Tawny?
Yeah.
This is,
yeah,
that is
The
outstanding.
tawny, yeah,
you
I
can
think
smell
I
the
actually
fungus
like
in there,
tawny.
seriously.
You like the
Said
tawny
this
better?
way earlier today, and I was like, oh my god, this is a good pour. I've had a
the Tawny? The Tawny is
Tawny's
absurd.
amazing, yeah.
Where are you at, Ian, on this? What's your favorite?
I like them both, but I think I like this one.
You like the Ruby?
Oh,
Annie?
Ruby's amazing.
as much as I like, that's
It depends on what
one of
you
the
do.
better rubies I've had in a long time. This.
I gotta go with the tonic, seriously.
Oh.
I was 100% on the Ruby until I had the Tawny.
Yeah, I know, me too.
The Tawny was solid. And so,
And I normally don't
Oh,
like tawny.
Price
yeah.
Great though.
price point on this?
Yeah.
Do you remember, Ian, how much these were? I want to
No,
say
I think it was like $3,000 for that, and like $5,000 for that one.
it was, yeah, it was, but they gave it to us because we were
For how
RockNRoll
many
Wine School All.
We get a good discount.
I want to say maybe the Tawny was in the $30 range and the vintage was maybe 50-ish.
For this one, which was
That sounds about right.
2003? Okay, yeah, because I was like, 2000, yeah, that was good.
Yeah.
Makes sense. I mean,
But this
then
Tawny
that's
is
I was like
freaking
13,
ridiculous.
13 years old.
that's not
so it's
breaking the
like,
bank though. I mean, crying out loud.
No,
No, well, you're not gonna slam down a
Good
bottle.
No, that's
Well,
the
you
thing.
might, I mean.
Me? Oh,
Yeah,
personally,
yeah,
absolutely.
yeah.
But any lesser person will not.
which one is your favorite? Yeah.
I don't know. I keep going back and forth because to me they
You
are
like them.
well. I like them a lot, but
Yeah,
they're just
they're good.
very different.
Super different. So remember, like that's super interesting. We started basically, essentially with the same wine,
Yeah.
and then we said, you know, we took some of it and we said we're gonna put it in a bottle, let it age in a bottle, and it turned dark purple and jammy. Some others we put in a barrel and it sit for 10 years, and then bottled it.
You
And
get all
they
this
turned out
dried fruit like
So they have 50
fig,
Caramel.
raisins,
Maple- I get maple syrup on it.
maple.
Yeah.
So they grow 50 different
really?
kinds of
Yeah.
grapes along these, slopes that are.
Yeah.
The vector is very steep, and
Mhm.
how many different kinds of grapes are there?
In the world,
Yeah.
In the world or in the
I wanna
Douro
know.
Valley?
I just wanna know.
8 or 10,000 probably.
Yeah?
I don't think we
Okay,
know.
so-
The Italians themselves claim over 3,000 of them.
But the problem
But
is
like, the
like,
question is like, how much are the same as somewhere else? Like, do
Well,
they
that's
really
the
know?
thing.
Or is it like,
Every square foot of that hill is a different
Yeah.
grade,
Yeah.
right?
well, you also have the issues like in they call it Tinta Roris in Portugal, and in Spain they call it Tempranillo. Is that two
Yeah.
different grapes, or
No,
is that the
it's the
same
same
grape?
thing. Yeah, exactly.
genetically it's the same, but yeah.
Yeah. So.
Yeah, it's.
But inevitably, it gets to like the basic five, and it's interesting. You talk to some of the pork producers, and they will tell you like, okay, this one gives body, this one gives structure, but this one is from our vineyard that's on the south hill, and so we have to change the blend because it doesn't get as much sun as this one over here on the north side of the
Yeah.
slope, and this other one isn't really on a slope, so it's
Yeah,
we need to sweeten it
It's
up with
art.
some yeah.
it's an art, I love it.
It's amazing how they do this stuff. The port wines just across all of Portugal, I think, are probably one of the best values in the world.
Portugal,
Absolutely.
alright.
Anyways,
Here's the art,
there's
Great
port.
stuff.
music.
As always,
Wow.
30 seconds craziness.
cheers, guys.
Cheers.
Cheers.